started with a couple of poems about sort of sensitive issues like love, charity, that kind of thing. It wasn't always thus. I did actually spend 10 years as a ranting political poet, which is something looking back now, I blame squarely on my then girlfriend's cat, Captain Marmalade. He was a Scorpio. Has anyone here got a Scorpio cat? Horrendous catnip come-downs. Scorpio cat. So one of his catnip come-downs, he scratched my copy of the first Clash album. I know it hurt. It still hurt. He scratched my copy of the first Clash album so badly that when he put the needle on, it jumped 7 times a second and acted like a kind of aural stroboscope. And I had a kind of spontaneous, involuntary, altered state of consciousness. And to cut a long story short, my soul became catapulted out of my body to a place called the Punk Zone, which is a kind of cul-de-sac off of the Twilight Zone, populated entirely by disembodied entities that have got a problem with authority figures. And I became possessed through my poetry for the next 10 years by the spirit of Lawrence Clarkson, who was a 17th century ranter and radical mystic, a man who was imprisoned during the English Civil War for invading church pulpits and swearing for 2 hours solid. Without repetition. And I thought, I'll have some of that. I'll have some of that. And I did. I channeled the spirit of Lawrence Clarkson through my poetry for the next 10 years until I finally moved to the West Country, and I was cured by a shaman who practiced Bristol healing. I don't know if you know Bristol healing, but this is where you get dragged to the banks of the holy River Avon, and a huge bearded ex-docker beats the evil spirits out of you with an empty cider bottle fashioned from pure healing rose quartz. And ever since that moment, I've just listened to alt country music and written poems about my dysfunctional childhood. And I'm going to do a couple of those for you now. This is a poem about my early political awakening at the age of about 15. It's called War on the Home Front. This was war on the home front, and I was a squaddy with a body of political opinion gleaned from the sleeves of punk rock records. You're all lackeys of a fascist state! I would cry. Yes, dear. Mum would sigh. Now why don't you get out of my kitchen and go and put the world to rights while you still bloody well know everything? And we argued across the political divide and across the kitchen table. And I called for an endly arms race, and I said if I were able I'd smash up all the guns and tanks, and we'd burn down all the thieving banks, and we'd all live happily ever after thanks in small self-sufficient egocentric village communes. And Mum said, yes dear. A trifle simplistic. Now clear off. And she shooed me off my stool. It was autocratic rule, and it's all a little foolish now, yes, but back then I saw red. Why? Don't you respect me as a pacifist? I said, as I slammed her head in the kitchen door. Thank you very much.